Okay, welcome back, everybody. Just ahead of Jersey Jim. Breaking news out of the National Hockey League. The three stars of the week have been announced. Dallas Stars center Wyatt Johnston, Tampa Bay Lightning left winger Brandon Hagel, and Washington Capitals right winger Tom Wilson have been named the NHL's three stars presented by Geico. We'll tell you what they did later on if we have time. Welcome to the program, Jersey Jim. Listen, I know you're just dying from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com, but you follow the college football scene very closely, and you saw our poll question. Is Lane Kiffin going to go down as the most reviled coach in college football history? You say it ain't close.
No, it's not close. First of all, guys, thanks for having me on, Rod. Always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, Lane Kiffin, this is who he is. If guys, look, you can find his history on the internet. I wrote about it. I said before everything went down, I compared him to the LeBron James of college football. He likes to show this decision by him should have been made before the Egg Bowl so we could see what Ole Miss is going to be like without him. He didn't need to coach that game. He wasn't coaching in the playoff. I like Keith Carter's decision not to allow him to do it. He's going to a rival school. This is similar to what happened when Saban left LSU to go to Alabama with a stop in between in Miami to coach the Dolphins. And, he comes back. He was despised at LSU. Lane wanted to stay, but if you really wanted to stay, you would have signed an extension like Mike Elko and Clark Lee and Kirk Cignetti and all these guys before you to go coach. Today's day and age, you can win a national championship pretty much anywhere because of the transfer portal and NIL. But like you guys have mentioned, and you, Rod, has stated, the calendar, the way it is right now, he had to go yesterday. And now everybody's talking about, oh, well, is Ole Miss going to be in a playoff? Ole Miss is going to be in a playoff, but it's not a playoff when 12 people in a room decide who goes in and out. It's an invitational.
Yeah, well, I won't believe they're in until Selection Sunday. I'm not totally because they're not Kiffin's Rebels. So can you imagine if they don't make the 12-team playoff? My God, you thought FSU fans were riled up. Like, you think it's a cinch they're going to be in?
It's a different situation because when Jordan Travis went out, they had 2 games left to prove who they were without Jordan Travis. I go back to 2014, Cardell Jones comes into the Big Ten championship game after Ohio State lost their 2 quarterbacks. Ohio State's offense didn't miss a beat. That's why they got in, and that's why the committee put them in a 14 playoff, and they ended up going to win the national championship. They killed everybody en route to it. Florida State looked like a completely different team with their backup quarterbacks in. It wasn't even the same team. So I didn't have a problem with the decision. The problem is we don't know what Ole Miss is like under Pete Golding because Lane Kiffin coached the final game on Friday.
That's why I'm saying I don't believe they're a lock to make the 12-team, but I think they'll put them in just because. But there's a reason Lane Kiffin left for $13 million a year. LSU thinks he's a fine coach. You don't just replace a guy like that.
No, but I will say this. I don't think the grass is always greener on the other side. Brian Kelly was there 6 years at LSU, and he said, oh, I can go win a national championship. Meanwhile, Marcus Freeman took his team to the national championship game, been to the playoff multiple times. If Lane doesn't win a national title within the first 4 years of being there, I think he's going to be looking for a new job.
Maybe 2 years, but especially the way it is now when he's given all the resources. But I'll ask you this. Is Lane Kiffin worth it? Did LSU do the right thing?
To me, he's not worth it because he's committed to himself. Like you said, most of us are. We always want to try to find something better. But I had thought Lane Kiffin had repaired his reputation. When he went to FAU after Nick Saban fired him, when he took right before the national championship game in 2017, I was like, okay, he went to FAU. But a lot of people forget he was begging the SEC and teams in the SEC to come back, even LSU. Nobody wanted to touch him. Ole Miss gave him a shot. And in 6 years, he put together a really good program and a program that actually right now is better than LSU because they're going to go to the playoff, have won 10-win seasons, and you're doing it through the portal and NIL. I wouldn't have left. LSU knows who they're getting because again, unless the Alabama job comes along, you hope Lane Kiffin stays at LSU for the rest of his career.
There's no way he's going to do that. He's 50 years old. He's going to coach for the next 20 years. I know there are Crimson Tide fans that hope that he was going to go to Alabama, but I think they're pretty happy with Kalen DeBoer. We'll get to the comments from the viewers in a second. We all know the viewers love Jim. RP Show viewers love Jersey Jim, but none of you love him more than I do. And I brought you on here because you have been working your buns off covering NHL rumors. I feel like it's like your favorite thing. And these days, we don't wait until the NHL trade deadline anymore because the deals are done like basically starting now. The big ones. That's the trend that it's moved towards. So are you expecting anything in December?
I don't think so. I mean, unless something comes together like real quick, I don't expect anything before the holiday freeze. Again, I think the way the standings are right now, everything's so tight. We're just coming out of American Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving, and teams are only separated by a couple of points in the Eastern Conference. I mean, who expected the Flyers to be where they are? Buffalo's still in it. All these teams are still in it. In the West, yeah, Calgary, Vancouver, St. Louis, Nashville, all those teams are, near the bottom. But, the Flames are playing better. St. Louis has picked up points. Vancouver, again, what are we doing in Vancouver? Because we send out a memo, but who's really available? I expect things to happen after the holiday freeze and after Christmas and heading into the Olympic break. And I do expect the deadline to be pretty busy. But again, until I see it actually happen, there's a lot of chatter, but right now, no action.
Well, you've been very busy following that. I've been reading it. And one of your latest stories, by the way, with NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com, go subscribe and read it with Jimmy because he is the hardest worker in the league. He's got the best stuff, most credible as far as I'm concerned. And you're saying the Oilers aren't going to do anything till Christmas in the crease? You believe that?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for those kind words, Rod. And yeah, I mean, right now the philosophy has been with Stan Bowman is they're not going to do anything unless they feel that there's something better out there. That's been their philosophy since the offseason. I mean, look, the team around Stuart Skinner has to play better defense. We've documented this. We've talked about it. He just did get a shutout against Seattle, and Seattle's been playing well this year. So you got to take that for what it's worth. I think if there was more games like Dallas where they got shellacked, 8-spot put up, similar with Colorado game. But again, you go back to the Dallas game, they didn't play any defense. They just let guys walk into the slot. That's not going to help you. But what do you feel is better out there? Is a Laurent Brossoit, who's becoming available in Chicago, better? He was with the organization before. We know what he can do. But who are they trading for? Tristan Jarry's got a high AAV. UC Saros has got a high AAV. You go to Jordan Binnington. He's got a 14-team no-trade clause. Edmonton Oilers are on that list. What are you giving up? Because the depth of the Oilers isn't there right now. So I think they're just going to have to wait it out until they get the cap space, which could be later on in the season or into the summer.
Well, I'll tell you what, the depth of the Oilers has never really been there, yet they've made it to the last 2 Stanley Cups, and they've done it with Stuart Skinner. I mean, I feel so bad for the kid. I would love to interview him. Actually, no, I don't want to interview him. I would just like to talk to him. No tape recorders, no cameras, and say, Stu, do you want out of here? Because no one would blame you if you wanted out of here. Like, I've seen Bob blow up a couple times this year and go, it happens. It happens. Yet when it's the one thing with the Oilers, when they lose big and at home. And you can't do that.
No, you can't do that. No. And again, it comes down to playing defense. And it's pretty much the same team that went to the Stanley Cup final 2 years in a row. And when Connor McDavid gets mad at reporters last year in the Western Conference final about talking about playing defense, well, this is the reason why they keep bringing it up. Darnell Nurse not having a great year. Evan Bouchard not having a great year defensively. Matthias Ekholm, who was brought in from Nashville, who was supposed to be the anchor, isn't really having the best of years either. Look, I know they got reinforcements back. I know Hyman's back in the lineup. RNH is back in the lineup. But everybody has to contribute defensively to be a good team. That's why the Oilers are struggling right now. And when you rely on your goaltender to make 4, 5, 6 extra saves, that's not a recipe for success. Even the Rangers with Henrik Lundqvist lost games when they just relied on their goaltender. You got to play better in front of your goaltender to be successful.
Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, hey, Rod, the Leafs motorboated Sidney Crosby in the pen Saturday night. I think it was 7-3. He says, now on to the Panthers in Florida with both teams tied in the standings. Yeah, I'm not pleased that I'm going to miss a Tuesday night encounter between the Leafs and the Panthers, but I'm also not pining over it. One thing I've learned, Jimmy, you can't be in two places at once. There's a tip for you. But as far as the Leafs go, I wrote this down. Hottest NHL teams right now, in terms of in their last 10, are Colorado, Dallas, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Washington, and the LA Kings. The coldest are Utah, Nashville, Anaheim, and Toronto. Do you see the Leafs turning this around realistically?
I think Saturday was a start. I liked what I saw. I thought that was the most complete game they played all year under Craig Berube, with everybody was there. But there's a lot of debate about going on about what are they doing. Like, they want to make hockey trades, and I do think they can turn it around to answer the question. I do think they can. But again, it comes down to playing the right way. Having Joseph Wall back is huge. You can see he brings a confidence to the team. They're playing better defensively. They have to carry that over into the next game, which is Florida, which is never easy because we've seen in the past when the Leafs had Marner and they were healthy, Florida minus a bunch of guys always won because they played a certain way that drove the Leafs insane. They couldn't win. Toronto has to play like they did against Pittsburgh and take care of business, get the goaltending, play better defense. But again, they're looking to move out guys like Brandon Carlo, who they just brought in. Maybe they move out at Dakota Joshua, Nick Waugh. You could clearly see Marner not being there is huge for this team. I think if Matthews can start putting the puck back in, and again, John Tavares has been their best player along with William Nylander. They're starting to get healthy again, the injury bug. To me, I look at it, I think they can do it. But again, it comes down to playing the right way under Craig Berube.
Ron in Calgary writes in on the Western Dodge text line, and he says, morning, Rod. Edmonton is basically stuck with Skinner. There's nothing available, and it's also both issues, defense and goaltending. So I'm just passing that along. Anaheim, I mentioned they're one of the coldest teams in the NHL right now. Just a swoon, or are they who we thought they were? What's going on with the Ducks?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got off to that hot start. I think they got that new coach bump coming out of the season. Right, Joel Quenneville, by the way, credit to you on that story back in the summertime and even before everything happened. But I look at it and I say to myself, okay, it's a young team. Yeah, you have a nice mix of veterans there. How many guys can stay hot? Now the goaltending. You lose your number one for a couple of weeks. Peter Mrazek just went down. You have a capable guy in Ville Husso. We know what he did in St. Louis. Didn't work out too well in Detroit. If we can get back to playing fundamental defense, again, it's a running theme here. Playing good defense in front of your goaltender, it helps. But I think teams are catching up on who the Ducks were coming out of the start. High-flying, fast, relying on Leo Carlson, Beckett, Seneca. They're starting to hit that wall where, hey, Joel Quenneville got us playing the right way. Kind of we're starting to lax a little bit. Cutter Gauthier is playing well. Their defense, Pavel Mitnyakov is doing his thing. Owen Zellweger. They were winning a lot of one-score games, going to overtime. Now, you're up 3-0 against Chicago. That's a game you got to win. You let Bedard and company, who, by the way, is having a great season in Chicago this year. He's playing unbelievable. Him and Makla Celebrini, to me, I think should be on Team Canada, but that's another discussion. You let them come back and win. Your defense let you down, bad penalties. Again, you're hitting that wall. Every team hits a wall. Every team goes through slumps. I do expect Anaheim to bounce back, but I think I'm starting to see the team I expected entering the season.
Jersey Jim with us from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, what do you mean Florida's never easy? They were easy for the Flames, LOL. I watched that game. I mean, folks, one beautiful thing about Canada is anytime you turn on the TV, you can catch a hockey game. So when I got to my hotel in Toronto Friday night, the Flames-Panthers game was on. And Panthers got out to a 2-0 lead, wound up losing 5-3, and I saw Paul Maurice after the game lamenting not playing for 60 minutes. I feel like, Jersey Jim, that every coach except for Jared Bednar, I think this year I've seen complaining that his team's not playing 60 minutes. Bruce Cassidy's bitched about it. Brube, obviously. It's December, for God's sakes. They're all having that problem.
Yeah, I mean, and look at it. The way the schedule is condensed, right? You're playing 4 games in 6 nights, 11 games in 15 nights. The Devils' schedule is, they're playing, I think, like 8 games over the next 13 days. Like, you can't play great every night, but coaches expect you to give effort, compete for 60 minutes, do the little things right. You can't have your A game all the time, but you have to learn how to win with your BC game. The Devils are going through that. When they have nights off, they have nights off. I saw it Saturday night against Philadelphia. The breakdowns, everything like that. The one thing I'll say is you can't play catch-up hockey. It's hard to do it every night. Every now and then you can do it. But you got to catch the team in the right way. Like, again, we saw Sunday night with the Anaheim and Chicago. Chicago gets on some power plays. They start off the rush. You can't play complete 60 minutes every night. It's hard to do it because it wears you down come playoff time. But the Panthers have to get back to their style of hockey, which is just play good defense, just crush people, forecheck hard, and keep the puck in the other end of the zone and score goals. That's what they're known for.
They're just trying to keep their nose above water because they're a great team, and when they do put their mind to it and play 60 minutes, they can beat anybody. I've seen it. It's just, like you say, it's an exhausting way to play right now. So they're just trying to tread water until they get their guys back. Oh, my God, Jim, we're running out of time. Again, it goes way too fast with you. But I'll say that I mentioned this. I walked out of Pedersen Airport in Toronto Friday and just went, hockey weather. I didn't mind the cold. I know you. Tell our viewers, if you have a chance to go to Toronto or Montreal, you're going. Jersey Jim is going because you love the hockey vibe.
Oh, I'm going no matter what. I mean, look, do I complain that it's sub-freezing? Yeah. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I'll go to Montreal, Toronto. It doesn't matter. I'll go to Calgary. Heck, I was at the Heritage Classic in 2011. I love it. Like, I love hockey weather. I love doing everything. Look, it is a little colder. I like the warm weather, not going to lie. I like the Florida weather. Like it being 70, 80 degrees outside. But hockey weather is here. When it gets into the 30s Fahrenheit, close to 0 degrees Celsius, that's good hockey weather.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get through this this Canadian trip now. I'm up here for a week. Get through Christmas, and then maybe it would be fun to do a New York hockey in the winter. Islanders, Rangers, Devils. I think that would be a lot of fun. Hey, last take. Like I said, we're running out of time, which sucks. Jersey Jim with us here from NHL Full President, NHLers.com, but you're also a football guy. Giants at the Patriots tonight. What's the rallying cry for the G-men? Let's end this streak. What? Where are they at?
Just play well. Let's not see the same old stuff we've been seeing. Hey, if they have a lead, let's hold the lead. Like, how many blown leads is this team going to have? Shane Bowen's gone. Brian Dable's gone. Like, if this team has a lead on the Patriots, can they close it out? Defense looks great for the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, they always give up a lead. What are we doing? Like, let's get some continuity. Let's build on something because the season's over. Everybody knows it. Me personally, I know what Joe Burrow said about, playing a kid's game. You get paid a lot of money to play a kid's game. I also think about the safety of the player and my future. I wouldn't play Jackson Dart. I would just let him chill the rest of the year. Put Winston in. Winston's
shut him down.
The offense. Just shut him down.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Jimmy. Great job. The wonderful Jersey Jim from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. We'll be right back, everybody, here in the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.